ears are very important to us. Please hold on, and our program will begin shortly. The Soundcheck podcast is coming up. Please continue to hold. Keep up with the Soundcheck podcast and everything that's happening in the New Sounds empire. Just go to newsounds.org and follow us on social media. All of the icons are in the top right corner of the page. All of our other musicians are currently playing for other customers. Please stay with us, and someone will play for you in just a moment.
It's a thing I do. People say it's true, but I'm not sure how.
From newsounds.org and the studios of WNYC in New York, it's time for another live performance in our Soundcheck podcast series, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm John Schaefer. An irresistible groove meets an unpronounceable name in the music of the band that most people call chkchkchk. The actual band name consists of 3 exclamation points, and after about 20 years and 8 LPs, still really hard to find them online. Their new album is called Warmup, and it just might be the sound of people dancing as things fall apart. The band is here in the studio to play some of that record for us. Here's chkchkchk with a song called Off the Grid.
Everybody's trying to one up the bid. Everybody wanna say being a kid. Everybody trying to say where they hid when it stopped being sunny and the shit got out of control. Yeah, the shit got out of control. To assume the end is near and not a moment too soon. Get up, it's here. Get up, it's here. Get up. Everybody screaming, just let me live. Meanwhile, diving in a fiery pit, trying to figure out just who's a gin and how it used to mean something when Dad used to rock and roll. Everybody knows it was what it was, and it floats downstream like everything does. and the sun goes down in the sky above, and the view's just stunning when the shit gets out of control. Everybody trying to get off the grid. Everybody wanna say where they've been. Everybody trying to say what they did when things got funny and the shit got out of control. Yeah, the shit got out of control. Straight down the middle of the highway, 98 miles an hour. That's not really power. We want the power. Get up, it's here. You can't start to assume the end is near and not a moment too soon. Get up, it's here. Get up, it's here. Get up, get up, get out. Don't get too close to the other side. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Do you feel it? I must admit, I might have tried to get near it, to get near it, to get near it. Don't get too close, don't get too close to the other side. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
That is the band chkchkchk live here in our studio with the song Off the Grid, which then led directly into In the Grid, both of which you'll find on their latest album called Wallop. And joining us in the studio, the singers, Nick Offer, Mia Pace, on keyboards, Dan Gorman, on guitars, you heard Mario Andreoni and Raphael Cohen, who's now switching to bass. You heard a little bit of Raphael's voice as well. Behind the drum kit is Chris Egan, former Soundcheck staffer. Good to see you again, Chris. So Nick, that's a very danceable, yet if you're not paying attention, you might miss the fact it's also a very dark and dystopian song. And there seems to be a fair amount of that happening on this album. Was that the intention going in?
It was, and then, but I mean, we just do whatever. I mean, we fire up the drum machine and see what starts happening. So I kind of feel like this record came out dark just because it's been a couple of years of Mondays, we were like, oh yeah, let's write a political record, and then we kind of wrote a bunch of crappy songs, and then threw those away, and then wrote some love songs, and then some political songs started happening.
Well, and that's interesting because there's a lot of I mean, a lot of political songs are just that. They're literally occasional pieces. They're for an occasion, and once that occasion's done, you kind of there's no point to the song anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas you've written songs like there's one song on the record called "My Fault," which has this repeating line. I guess I'm paraphrasing. I can't help but feel that this is my fault.
Yeah.
Which could be, the end of a relationship, or it could be a much kind of deeper, darker meaning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You want to know which one it is?
Well, I'm sort of interested in what you intended because whatever I think it is absolutely right for me, and what the listeners think is.
Well, I mean that one's interesting to bring up in that context because I feel like so much of where we're at politically now, you're trying to blame everything on this and that, and I think the only way we're going to get out of the current political situation is kind of finding what our own faults are in it. It's like, I mean, we can blame the president for a long time. We're going to, because there's a lot of things at fault, but to get ourselves out of this, and I feel like in any conflict that you're in, it's like you can be so mad at whoever, but it's like you can't. They're going to do what they're going to do, and the only way you're going to figure your way out of it is finding your own fault in it. So that's kind of where that song came from.
Yeah. Now, Mia, in addition to singing with this band, with Chk, you're part of that Resistance Revival chorus, right?
Yes, definitely.
Which is, that is specifically a political act.
Oh, yes, we're protesters. There's no way around it.
Yeah. So do you find a connection between what you do with Chk and what you do in that chorus?
Oh, yeah. I mean, these guys have always been marching to the beat of their own drum, and I love that. They all have strong opinions about things. They all have, they're very passionate about everything that they do. And so I felt very attracted to that.
Yeah. And speaking of marching to the beat of a different drum, it sounded like there were two beats at the end of in the grid there, almost like a Steve Reich phasing thing, where patterns were going in and out of phase with each other. What was that?
That's just some messing around with the drum machines and stuff. Okay. We just like to make weird things happen. When something's happening, we don't understand what's happening. We're like, yeah, tape it,
Okay. Do you make records that way?
Yeah, basically. That's you're trying to. I feel like someone said something to me while we were making this record that electronic music is like about trying to create unique moments, and that's kind of what we're hoping.
Well, you spend years learning to master your instruments, and at the same time, you're mastering kind of patterns of behavior with your instrument, and sometimes it can be very useful to break those.
Yeah, yeah.
I know a lot of guitarists who use alternate tunings for exactly that reason, because they've become so comfortable with the standard fingering of the instrument that when you change the tuning and you find yourself in a different place sonically, it can be a very...
Yeah. You're trying to make something different happen, even if you're just strumming a C chord, you want it to be like a different C chord than usual somehow.
Right.
Why is this C so different?
Right. So in the making of this, first of all, the name Wallop, were you trying, are you suggesting this is an album that might pack an emotional punch?
That definitely, yeah. We want to, because when I looked up the definition, I liked the word, and then when I looked it up, and I was like, yeah, that works. It was like a surprising hit that stuns.
Right.
So we were like, yeah, we felt like this was like a very strong kind of chunky, meaty record kind of, and so it kind of worked for that.
So when you're taking on big issues like this, and maybe not taking them head on, but sort of, as you were saying, looking at it from a personal point of view, do you avoid cynicism? And here's the reason I'm asking, because the next song you're about to sing is a pretty cynical little number.
I just thought it was funny. But I feel like it's not cynical, because it's, in a way, it's like saying I'm not going to sell out, because I'm not going to get $50 million, I forget actually what it was. Someone put it to me, like, what would you do? Would you take $50 million to support whatever? And I was like, yeah, I guess I wouldn't. So, I mean, I think the song is it's kind of just saying that's we're all kind of able to lob whatever shots at whoever, but it comes comes down to you. What would you actually do? And it's very easy for me as a punk rocker to say I would never do that, but then when you're faced with it, but I feel like our we're what 22, 23 years in the game, and our nose is pretty clean, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that cynical. I don't think anyone who knows this would really describe us as cynical. So I think we're okay.
Okay. Well, the narrator of this song is like $50,000. No, my principles are not for sale. $50 million, we'll talk.
But I mean, isn't everyone kind of like that? Like, I mean,
Oh, that's a very cynical thing to say.
I mean, you must have had your offers to go be on what, Hot 97 or whatever. I mean, I don't.
No, Hot 97 have not been battering down my door. I do know what you mean, though, and
You must have had it. You must have had a point where you were like doing something. You're like, man, this is so corny. I don't want to. And I don't know. You've had these points in your career.
Yeah. There are moments where other options appear, and you have to decide. You know, do I want to have the fun job that maybe doesn't pay as much, or the job that's going to be a job that pays more money? I mean, I think everyone has to face that choice at some point.
I mean, and I feel like I'm kind of at the older point where now I've seen my friends sell out and kind of be like, yeah, man, I shouldn't have done that. I'm on the other end where, like everyone who did that, there's none of my friends who like sold out and they're like, hey, how's it going? Like none of them are like sitting that pretty,
Yeah.
So I mean, I think ultimately you choose not to sell out for your own selfish reasons,
Right.
because it ends up being a soul sucking thing,
Absolutely. All right, so that's not cynical at all.
Yeah.
All right, you want to play the song for us?
Let's do it.
It's called $50 Million, and it's on the latest album called Wallop by the band Chkchkchk.
All the things that keep me up at night, precisely that I can't explain them. Searching for a fabric in an unfair world, and rules just seem to keep on changing. $50,000 wouldn't change my mind, but 50 million more just might. I got my convictions, but I won't miss them. I got my conscience, but I won't listen. I stand accused of all the usual stuff. Heart is true, but is it strong enough? You know what they say, everybody has got a prize. Well, I guess that's true. I'll make my 49. I said 999. Na 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 na. I'll make my I form my opinion from couple position, but politics are still unproven. I don't know how I got them, but I might as well use them. There's comfort in my chosen delusion. $50,000 wouldn't change my mind, but 50 million now we're talking. I've been tempted, but not that often. If they want some of this, well, it's gonna cost them. I stand accused of all the usual stuff. My heart is true, but is it strong enough? You know what they say, everybody has got a prize. Well, I guess that's true. And make my foot. I stand accused of that which I accuse you of. Now how about you? How much would be enough? You know what they say, and wouldn't it be nice? Well, I guess that's true. I'll make my 49. Say 999. I'll make my 49. Big Bang! Big Bang 49! Big Bang 49! Big Bang 40, 99, 99, 49! Big Bang 49!
$50 million. The name of the song from the band chkchkchk. You'll find it on their new album called Wallop. That obviously a live performance here in our studio. The band is coming back to the area for 3 shows. For those of you upstate a ways, on Friday, October 11th, they're playing at the O Plus Festival in Kingston, New York. Here in New York on Saturday, October 12th at the Music Hall of Williamsburg. And then Sunday the 13th, for those of you in New Jersey, at Asbury Lanes in Asbury Park. Nick, one of the things that I've sort of enjoyed about going through your records over the years is finding all the little references and allusions to earlier music. You know, Kim Thurston and Me, for example, a reference to the band Sonic Youth, or Me and Giuliani Down by the Schoolyard, you know, a kind of callback to Paul Simon. Last time you guys were here, the album Thriller, your album Thriller. With that song, with $50 million, is there a Talking Heads callback, especially in Mario's guitar part?
Mario, is there?
It's Nile Rodgers.
I didn't hear that.
Now Rogers.
Nile Rodgers. Okay, because it sounds a lot like E Zimbra from the...
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. We like that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. No,
Okay,
I mean, they're
so
definitely heroes.
not an intended reference there.
No. That one's pretty... You know what it's trying to do in that one? It was trying to... You know those ends of Rolling Stones songs where Mick is like talking like, I'll be a knight in shining armor, or like
Coming to your
that-
emotional rescue.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, or like in the end of State of Shock, the Jacksons ones, we saw, look at me. So that, and also at the end of, is it, I Got Lucky in Love in a solo album, his ill-fated She's the Boss album. You know that he does the rap at the end of that one, Lucky in Love, is one of, Mick has some great, like, there's a lot to talk about in Mick. You know, he's like one of those guys, he's like so overrated, he's underrated. Like, you kind of forget to talk about Mick. But that's one of the things I really like about Mick is his post third chorus raps, kind of. No one can do the post third chorus rap like Mick Jagger.
Okay, but you gave it a shot there.
I gave it a shot. Yeah, kind of.
So now this album is full of, we say dance music, but there's lots of different types of dance music. And you really have kind of taken a wide angle view of dance music here, it seems. You know, are you sort of consciously, you know, it seems like 90s house music in this track and disco in another track, etc.
You know what is the funniest thing is that I remember when we came out with our second record, Loud Enough Now, and you know, we thought we had something that sounded like radically different from itself. Like we tried this, and when we were doing interviews, people were like, no, it kind of sounds the same. And we were like, wow, really? And then like every record, that's what we've always been trying to do. Like we're trying this, we're trying that. And this is the first record where people actually gone like, yeah, it sounds different from itself. And we're like, it took us 8 records. So I just want to say to the kids out there, it might take you 8 records, but you can get there.
All right.
But yeah, we're trying to hit all those things.
Yeah. And so did you make the record differently? Was there a different process? I read somewhere that this was mostly done in your apartment?
Yeah. This was we had kind of a moment where we had to decide between going to a fancy studio, which we actually liked. There was a fancy one we liked, or we doing it at my house, and we kind of think that you make the best records taking the biggest risks, and that was kind of like, well, that's kind of a risky thing. Like we don't know what we're exactly gonna get. Like it might not come out so pro, but so that's what we went for, and yeah, did it at the house.
Okay. And I mean, did you have like producers and
Yeah, we had a friend.
engineers?
We had a friend, Mark. Shout out to Mark. He's out there. He's upstate, so maybe he's listening, and he came by and kind of helped us like mic stuff. And, like he had us like stapling the blankets up on the wall,
Right,
and like
right.
we were like hearing how the sound changed, and he was teaching us a lot. So it was, I mean, we want every record to be a learning process. We think the records you learn more are the records that are better, and man, we learned so much. I mean, this must be a masterpiece.
Well, it has a couple of unusual moments where you've coupled songs together. You played one of those couples for us
Yeah.
already, with Off the Grid and In the Grid, and then there's Slow Motion and Slow Mo, and then there's This Is the Door, This Is the Dub. What? I mean, were those just kind of happenstance, or was there something?
Well, I mean, we kind of came from, when we started, we were playing like 15-minute songs,
Right.
and so this was just kind of like our way of like, well, let's split them up for the same way you do a single edit. This is like, this makes sense for the playlist generation, like we very much like, we grew up on albums, we love albums, and that's what we make. We make songs however we want to make them, but as far as how we split them up, then I mean, those songs, what Giuliani, our biggest hit, that could have been 3 songs. If we were making that
That's
now,
like a 9-minute song, isn't it?
yeah, we would have just split that up into 3, probably. I think if we were putting that out now.
Right. So when you do This Is the Door, which you're about to do you do This Is the Dub as well?
We kind of do a thing where after we finish a record, then we have to learn the songs again, and
Sure.
so we're kind of playing in the original formation of it. It kind of became something else in the studio. So I think we want to play This Is the Dub. We're kind of waiting till we get till we meet Carolyn, our sound person, to kind of work out that and see if we can.
Because dub is very much a post-produced kind of sound.
It depends on your sound person. So
Absolutely.
we're gonna see what she can do, but for now we kind of have like a live rendition of it.
All right, let's hear it. The song is called This Is the Door. The band is chkchkchk. Their latest album's called Wallop. Here's another live performance.
I shouldn't have to say what you want to, but anyone can see what you wanna do. You thought it through and then you thought it through and thought it through and then thought it through again. Maybe you think that I don't notice, but I do. So I thought I should show this to you. This is the door. Baby, I can't, so it's there for you. This is the door. Sometimes you have to do what you're scared to do. 'Cause maybe it's gone and you know it's true. And I can't be the one who's strong.
I can't say just where my head's been at. I've been guilty of this and guilty of that. I changed my mind, I changed it back, I changed it back, and changed it back and then changed it back again. Maybe you think that I don't notice, but I do. So I thought I should show this to you. This is the door. Baby, I can't, so it's there for you. This is the door. Sometimes you have to do what you're scared to do. 'Cause baby, it's gone, and you know it's true. And I can't be the one who's strong. Oh, 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 oh. This is the door. This is the door. This is the door. And you know it's true. I can't be the one. Strong for you. No, I can't be the one. Can't be the one. I can't be the one who's strong. Not anymore. Not anymore. Anymore. And I'm gonna take it all. And I'm gonna take it all. And I got the control. This is the door. 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 This is the door.
Wow. Chkchkchk with a live version of This Is the Door. Mia, I'm wearing earplugs under these headphones, and you were still getting through there at the end.
Gotta reach people, you know?
That's great stuff. Nick, the band was, people still call you guys a dance punk band. I was listening to the Funky Branca the other day.
Oh, nice.
And I mean, that's dance punk.
Right.
Are you still a dance punk band, or is it just a dance band now?
You know what? When they ask us at customs, the band always says dance. I always say dance punk.
Okay.
Because, but to me, it's like, you know, it's like there's, I mean, it's live and sweaty, you know.
Yeah.
So,
And
and it's
punk
like
is an
there's
attitude, not a necessarily a
I
style.
mean, it changed me forever. I mean, I rarely throw on Black Flag, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, you know, as far as like what you were when you were young, that's really defining. It's like I wasn't a hippie, I wasn't a whatever. I was a punk, you know.
Well, the band is coming back to this part of the area in October. October 11th, the O Plus Festival in Kingston, upstate. October 12th here in New York, Music Hall of Williamsburg. And then Sunday the 13th for you folks in New Jersey at Asbury Lanes. The new album is called Wallop. And this has been terrific having you all here. Thank you so much for coming and playing for
Yeah,
us
thanks
today.
for having us, John.
Thank you.
This is Soundcheck.